T Gurubhyo Namaga children. Now we are going to discuss about the last topic in first chapter, the structure of Oryza seed. You know very well, Oryza seed is the example for monocot seed. Structure of Oryza seed is a good example for monocot seed. What is monocot? Monocot is nothing but a seed which have only one embryonic leaf like structure in their structure. Once again I am repeating, monocot is nothing but a seed which have only one embryonic leaf like structure. Okay. And another example for monocot seed is maize. So Oryza is nothing but paddy plant. Okay. The seed of paddy is one seeded, hence it is called as Coreopsis. Coreopsis. Then each seed remains enclosed by a brownish husk which consists of glooms arranged in two rows. So each seed is enclosed by a brownish husk. The seed coat is a brownish membranous layer closed attached with the grain. So seed coat is always attached with the grain. Okay. Endosperm form the bulk portion of the grain. So the grain contains the bulk portion called endosperm. What is the main function of endosperm? It stores the food materials. It acts as a storage tissue. Endosperm acts as a storage tissue. Endosperm is separated from embryo. It is separated means it represents endosperm. The endosperm separated from embryo by a definite layer called epithelium. Now I am going to show the diagram of LS of fruit, that is Oryza seed. Listen children, this is the structure of Oryza seed, LS of fruit. Okay, the bulk portion of the grain, the seed, that is called bulk portion. This is called as endosperm. It is separated by a definite layer called epithelium. This layer is called epithelium. It is separated. This layer, this is called embryo, and this is called endosperm. The embryo and the endosperm, they are separated by a membrane called epithelium. Can you understand? Yes. The embryo is small and consists of one shield shaped cotyledon known as scutellum. It is present towards the lateral side of embryonal axis. So, scutellum is present towards the lateral side of embryonal axis. See, this is the scutellum. It is present at the lateral side of embryonal axis. This full area is said to be embryo, and this bulk part of the grain is called endosperm. It is a nutritive tissue. Its main function is it stores the food materials. It acts as a storage tissue. So endosperm acts as a storage tissue. The main function is it stores the food materials. Okay. Then a short axis with plumule and radicle by the root cap. So a short axis with plumule and radicle is protected by root cap. Root cap is protected. So plumule and radicle is protected by a root cap, a short axis. The plumule is surrounded by a protective sheath called coleoptile. This is called plumule. Children, listen carefully. This part is called plumule. See, this part is called plumule, and this plumule is protected by a sheath called coleoptile. protective sheath. The same, the radicle and the root cap, these two are protected by a sheath called coleorhiza. Same spelling, coleoptile. It is a protective sheath. It protects the plumule. It is also one of the protective sheath. It protects the radicle as well as the root cap. Okay. So radicle including root cap is covered by or protected by a membrane called coleorhiza, a sheath called coleorhiza. Can you understand? And the next one, the scutellum always have the capacity to supply the food materials. It has the capacity to supply the food materials to the developing embryo. How it supply? It receives the food material with the help of epithelium from the endosperm. Can you understand? Endosperm is nothing but a storage tissue. It has excess amount of food materials. These food materials are passed through the epithelial layer and it reaches to the scutellum. Scutellum supplies the food materials to the growing embryo. Once again I am repeating, scutellum supplies the growing embryo with food materials absorbed from the endodermis. Endodermis contains excess amount of food materials. All these are present inside the endodermis. These food materials are absorbed by scutellum with the help of epithelium. Epithelium is a protective layer. It is a layer present between the endosperm and the embryo. Okay. Once again, I am repeating. Scutellum supplies the food materials to the developing embryo. The main function is the scutellum always absorbs the food material from the embryo with the help of epithelium. Okay. Once you observe the food materials, all the food materials are present here, and from here the food materials is transported to all parts of the embryo. Can you understand? Yes. That's all about the structure of the monocot seed, oryza seed. Next, we are going to see the next topic, parthenocarpy. As I mentioned earlier, parthenocarpy. As I mentioned earlier, you know very well, the ovary became fruit and the ovule became the seed after fertilization. Once the fertilization is over, the ovary became the fruit and the ovule became the seed. In number of cases, in some cases, the fruit like structure may develop without the process of fertilization, without the act of fertilization. Such process, such formation is called parthenocarpy. See here, parthenocarpy without the act of fertilization. There is no fertilization process takes place. The fruit like structure may develop without the act of fertilization, that is called parthenocarpy. Such fruit are called parthenocarpy. Invariably, they will not have true seeds. Many commercial fruits are made up of some seeds. Some plants do not have seeds. On the formation of parthenocarpy, the fruits which is made by parthenocarpy process, there is no seed at all. So commercial fruits are made seedless. Example, banana, grapes and papaya. These are the commercial fruits do not have seeds. They are produced, they are formed by the process of parthenocarpy. Nietzsche in year 1963 classified the parthenocarpy into following three types. The first one is genetic parthenocarpy. Genetic parthenocarpy means it is a type of parthenocarpy arise caused due to hybridization or mutation. So due to mutation, the fruit will develop. Okay, the parthenocarpic fruit will develop. Such type of parthenocarpy is nothing said to be genetic parthenocarpy. Second one is environmental parthenocarpy. Environmental parthenocarpy, in this condition, fog, low temperature, frost, high temperature, wind, velocity, etc. induce the parthenocarpy. For example, low temperature for about 3 to 19 hours induce the parthenocarpy in pear. Okay. Next one, third, chemically induced parthenocarpy. Induced means stimulated. With the help of some chemicals, we stimulate the plant species to produce parthenocarpic fruit. So, application of growth hormone, growth promoting hormones such as auxins and cytokinins and gibberellins also have the capacity to induce the parthenocarpy. So, this type of parthenocarpy is said to be chemically induced parthenocarpy. Significance is nothing but importance. The seedless fruits have great significance in horticulture. Seedless fruits have great commercial importance. With the help of these seedless fruits, we can able to prepare jam, jellies, sauce, fruit drinks, etc. High proportion of edible part is available. Why high proportion of edible part is available? There is no seed at all. So high proportion of edible part is available in parthenocarpic fruits due to the absence of seeds. Okay, so these are the importance of significance. um, so once again I am repeating, seedless fruits have great significance in horticulture. Seedless fruits have great commercial importance. Seedless fruits are useful in preparation of jams, jellies, etc. High proportion of edible part is available in parthenocarpic fruit due to the absence of seeds. Thank you, children. We will see in the next class.